morning, everyone. I was tasked to explain the different clinical laboratory administrative orders, the past and the recent. I am going to explain to you if there are differences and similarities between the two administrative orders. According to the previous and recent administrative orders, the series of 2001 strives to preserve and improve people's health via the capabilities of properly managed clinical laboratories. In order to offer and promote health in general, clinical laboratories should also have appropriate resources as well as effective and efficient performance through the adherence to quality standards. Clinical laboratory in the Philippines, on the other hand, must provide laboratory accountability via accurate, exact, and trustworthy laboratory results derived in the time, according to the Administrative Order Number 37 Series of 2021. Reading the purpose of two administrative orders, it was evident that they served the same objective. It was for the consumer's benefit to have effective and efficient performance to provide accurate, precise, and trustworthy laboratory findings. In the Administrative Order Number 59 Series of 2001, it is visible that it is focused on the activities and functions of clinical laboratories like analysis of any samples of human tissues, fluid, secretions, excretions, determination of the existence of pathogenic organisms, pathologic processes, or conditions. These restrictions, however, does not apply government laboratories. Furthermore, there are two clinical services available for certified government laboratories. First one is acid-fast bacilli microscopy and the second one is malaria screening and cervical cancer screening. The 6 clinical laboratory services described previously are also included in the government laboratory services. Administrative Order Number 37 Series of 2021, on the other hand, is more focused on external agendas and operations. It was stated in the order that this would apply to all individuals, agencies, partnerships, or corporations, whether private or government-owned, who were involved in the application for DOH license to operate, and those who were involved in operation of diagnostic clinical laboratories in the Philippines, including BARMM. So, if you look at it closely, you'll notice that the previous administrative order are actually different. So far, the continuation, I will give the floor to Ms. Flores.
The only difference of the two administrative orders when it comes to classification by function is that the AO number 27 series of 2021 has an additional molecular pathology. The institutional characters of these administrative orders are hospital and non-hospital based. Examples of institution are hospital based and non-institution are hospital based are shown on the screen. Service capabilities of AO number 59 series of 2001 are primary, secondary, and tertiary. We can also see on the screen the examinations conducted by the service capabilities. So, in AO number 37 series of 2021, the service capabilities are also divided to 3 as shown on the screen. The examinations that are conducted by the service capabilities are also flash. AO number 37 series of 2021 added the classification by ownership. There are two classifications, namely the government ownership, which is operated by the national and the local government, and the private ownership, which is established by the funds or donations that is given by individuals or associations.
If upon investigation any person is found violating the provisions of RA 4688 or any of these rules and regulations, the BHFS or CHD or his duly authorized representative shall suspend, cancel, or revoke for a determined period of time his or her license, as well as the authority of the offending person, without prejudice to taking the case to judicial authority for criminal action. In case of complaints, the clinical laboratory, upon receipt of such HFSRB or CHD-RLED, shall be given due process wherein an investigation shall be conducted and the appropriate sanctions for its violations. A 60-day preventive suspension may be given to the clinical laboratory during the investigation depending on the seriousness of the violation.
Staffing in AO number 59S 2001, The laboratory is managed by a licensed physician confined by the Philippine Board of Pathology, while in AO number 37S 2021, the laboratory is supervised by the head of the laboratory in accordance with the Philippine Society of Pathologists. According to AO number 59S 2001, a clinical laboratory needs the following healthcare workers. First, licensed physician. Second, personnel who had a training on clinical laboratory medicine, quality control, and laboratory management. 3. A qualified, educated, and trained registered medical technologies. AO number 59S 2001 promotes to have a continuous staff development program. In AO number 37S 2021, a clinical laboratory needs the following healthcare workers. First, head of the medical laboratory. Second, registered medical technologies. Third, support staff. Fourth, POCT coordinator.
Physical facility refers to the structure and internal surfaces of an establishment. The clinical laboratory must or should be well ventilated, appropriately lighted, clean, and safe according to the Administrative Order Number 59, Series of 2001. It is to avoid diseases from the bacteria because bacteria can be developed on unsanitary surfaces even though they appear to be cleaned. The working area must be large enough to handle cooperation while also allowing for a seamless and coordinated work. There shall be adequate water supply because water is one of the essentials that we must have in cleaning, sanitizing, drinking, and etc. Equipments, instruments, reagent, glassware, or supplies. As you can see in the table, AO number 59, series of 2001, state that there should be a sufficient number and there must be a variety of types, appropriate equipment, and instruments. The equipments and instruments must also comply with the safety requirements. AO number 37, series of 2021, state that there are available and operational equipment, machines, and devices to be used in the clinical laboratory. There must be contingency plan in cases where this equipment break down and malfunction. There should be inventory control to monitor the supply of the reagents and glassware. There should be an inventory control to monitor the supply of reagents and glassware. This equipment, machines, and devices must be stored properly and approved by the Philippine FDA.
This is a different clinical laboratory floor plan of Administrative Order Number 59, Series of 2001. Clinical laboratories are divided into three floor plans: the primary laboratory, secondary laboratory, and the tertiary laboratory floor plans. We'll start with the similarities between these floor plans. For starters, they all have the same building permit and business licensing requirements and processes.
Clinical laboratories should have sufficient and adequate equipment and instruments on hand in order to perform efficiently. Finally, waste management, quality control, reposting, recording, and laboratory fees must be followed by all categories. The services they provide, the clinical laboratory size and capacity, and the equipment or instruments required for the clinical laboratory to function properly are the differences between these three categories.
So now we will be discussing the laboratory floor plan of Administrative Order Number 37, Series of 2021. We should take note that all clinical laboratory must comply with the standards set by the authority. Number 2, every clinical laboratory should also have an adequate equipment and instruments which are all in good condition and sufficient for the operations. Adequate number of trained personnel is also important to provide safe, effective, and efficient service to others.
As seen in the diagram, this is the floor plan of the primary service laboratory of AO number 37S 2021. Beside the diagram is the legend of the equipments, instruments, glass wires, and regions needed inside the laboratory. The total square meter needed is 62 square meters.
This is the floor plan of secondary service laboratory of AL number 27, series of 2021. Beside of the diagram, it is also the legend which helped clinical laboratory identify the needed equipments, instruments, glassware, and reagents. The total square meter needed is 110 square meter.
Finally, the tertiary laboratory floor plan. As you can observe, the clinical laboratory expands to accommodate and secure the needed equipment and instruments inside. The total square meter of a tertiary laboratory, according to the Administrative Order number 37 series of 2021, is 160 square meters. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening.